whichever one of you is elected, it very well could be drawn right into a special session this fall around the Pawtucket Red Sox stadium debate. The Senate Finance Committee, at least, has said they'll look at it, and they could call all the senators back. So I want to know from each of you, are you open to providing state backing for the stadium, and how will you decide whether to support that or not? And I'll start with Mr. Haynes.
No. I think we learned our lesson back with the other mistake we made in 38 Studios. And I say this for many reasons, because myself and Mike Smith and others here are small business owners. And boy, oh boy, would we have loved to have been in a lottery of maybe 150 people who each got $500,000 at a low rate from the state. And boy, what a chance we would have given to develop our small businesses and put more people to work instead of weighing in on one individual particular group or company or private entity. I think it was a mistake. I think that we learned from the history, and I would not be in support of something like that. I would be in support of helping promote it, but they need to get the funding. I don't think the taxpayers' money is not for a private venture such as that.
And you don't mind if the Paw Sox leave if it came to that?
I'm sorry?
You don't mind if the Paw Sox leave if it came to that because the state didn't put up money?
From what I've been hearing knocking on the doors from my constituency, I would have to say yes. And again, we are the conduit from our constituents that are out here. When I discuss these issues with the folks from down here, I would have to say, we're sorry, but not Newport Senator.
Kim Ripley, same question on the Paw Sox. Would you be open to state support, and how will you decide?
No, I'm not open for state support. I think that there is way too much public money going into sporting goods stadiums. You look at some cities, they will vote for a stadium, and then the price structure for that, the citizens can't even afford to go to the games. While it's very nice, and I'm a huge fan of baseball, I just think that it's a billion-dollar industry, and the folks who maybe they need to pay less to the athletes as opposed to put that towards the renovation of the stadium. It shouldn't come from the tax dollars. If we have that kind of money, that should be going into the public school systems, providing DSL lines, computers, laptops, maybe tablets, things of that nature, not to something that is seasonal, that is for just a small constituent population for entertainment purposes. And also, I just don't think that's the right thing to do.
Mike Smith, same question on state support for the Paw Sox stadium.
In the last session, some members of the House called for an appointment of an Auditor General, that we should have one in our state that looks at waste, fraud, and abuse, legislative grants, etc. But also a lot of these deals that are made, a lot of them with outside companies. We saw it on a small scale with the casino, where a corporation tried to muscle its way into our community. But with the situation with Paw Sox Stadium, again, we're seeing another replay of 38 Studios, where we have $20,000 was donated by the Red Sox owners to the governor. Another $30,000 was donated to the governor to her campaign by unions that were involved in that contract. And we thought it was dead 2 months ago, and now here it is rearing its head again, and we want to vote on it again in the fall. It has to do with the process of our state, which is squeezing families and squeezing small businesses in favor of large corporations and their donors to politicians.
All right, David Alex, same question. Would you be open to state support for the Paw Sox stadium?
I would have to say I agree with Mr. Haynes. As I've been walking and knocking on doors, I hear time and time again from constituents that the people of Newport and Jamestown are not interested in this at all. They would rather see money invested differently, so I would say no.
Even if it means the Paw Sox leave Rhode Island?
I would hate to see that, because I love going to the Paw Sox, and I would love to see some compromise reached, but at the end of the day, I also feel like I need to listen to my constituents.
Don Ware, same question. Would you be open to state support for the Paw Sox stadium?
I also would very much not be open to that. I think it's really important that when we're thinking about investing public funds, that we're doing it in a way that is helping the public. I think there's appropriate uses for investments to help provide economic development. I think we need to do more on our roads and bridges. We need to provide broadband. When we're talking about economic development, it needs to be forward thinking. And there's been study after study about stadiums and casinos those are yesterday's solutions. I would hate to see the Cossacks leave as well, but I also come from a background of working in social enterprise. So I navigate for my clients on a daily basis between companies who know that, business can do good. It can provide good things for our society. We know that we can provide solutions. But, when you are talking to a social enterprise that has a social good as a background, and then you go and talk to an investor that only concerns about, getting your bottom dollar back to them, I think oftentimes people see those as conflicting interests, and I don't see them as conflicting interests. I think as an elected official, we need to be standing up for the taxpayers and making sure that we're being good stewards of those dollars, but not shutting down every conversation, because we do need to be making investments in supporting the quality of life.
John Flores, last opportunity for the Red Sox here. What do you think of the stadium idea?
And I'd love to have $38 million for my company, let me tell you. And the thing is, I think it's ironic, first of all, they're asking for about $38 million in funding. It's similar to what we're doing, right? So if you take the net worth of each of the Red Sox owners, all of them, they would be the 10th, 12th sports team owner. So I think it is absolutely absurd that they are asking the public for some money. Now, am I concerned that we might lose the Red Sox? They might go to another state? I'm also concerned, I'm probably more concerned about our students not getting a good education. That's what concerns me. So when I hear about this being debated in the Senate, and I'm relatively a political outsider, I've been in the game for about 30 months, but this is the kind of stuff, this is the kind of narrative that really upsets the public, because it makes us think, as citizens, where the heck are our priorities? That's $38 million. We have a $135 million budget shortfall. We need to get our priorities straight. And before we talk about, funding a team, a minor league team that shows absolutely in every study it's conducted, not one single iota of economic benefit beyond those 2 blocks of the stadium, then it leaves me and everyone else scratching their head. So no, it's not something that I would support.
Luckily right now there's no budget, so there's no shortfall.